Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? Yeah. So before the presentation is being set up, I'll just give you a brief introduction about myself. My name is Sachin Jain. I work for Prime Securities, which is a listed investment bank in Mumbai since 1992. And we have a wealth arm as well, which I'm a part of, and which advises family offices and corporate treasuries on their investment needs. And we work with close to we have 1,000 clients in India. We completed 1 year on this April. And before this, I was working with single family offices. So what we will cover today in the presentation is what is a family office, where do they invest, why is it formed, and part of the answers were being given by were given by Mr. Deepak when he was presenting. And what do family office heads do? What kind of team do they have? What kind of assets do they manage? So that is all. That is what we will cover in today's presentation. Yeah. Why? The first important question: Why are family offices formed? Okay. Now the first and most common reason is there's a promoter who has built up a company which is not listed. Now, when he tries to list it, or when he gets the company listed, he sells around 20-25% of his company's value to public. So he gets a lot of wealth, and so to manage at that point of time, a family office is formed so that that money can be invested and that can be taken care of. So first reason is promoter exits. Monetization of other assets. For example, sometimes it is not just a company getting listed. Sometimes you get lucky with a land bank or a land parcel that you have. So for example, sometimes you have a land parcel, a large land parcel, and उसके बाजू में कोई एयरपोर्ट बनने वाला है, ऐसी न्यूज़ आ जाती है, an airport is coming up, or a metro station is coming up, or some important highways about to get built near that land parcel. So अचानक से उस land parcel की value जो है वो बहुत बढ़ जाती है. Okay, at that time, if you monetize that asset, that time you get a lot of wealth, and you form a family office at that time. Sometimes, which is the most common example in India, where there's a very large business and they have not listed the business, they have not sold the business, they are just growing the business every year, and they don't sell the business. But at some point of time, there is a split in the family, or an argument between the brothers, and that time you split the business and you form individual family offices. Succession planning, as Deepak ji previously mentioned, sometimes, when the patriarchy grows older and he gets, to the age of 60, 70, 75, he thinks that, okay, it's time to, ensure that the wealth is transferred smoothly. So for the sake of succession planning, you form a family office. Governance of assets. So sometimes your assets are spread across, you have a large joint family where there is a grandfather and grandmother. They have 3 sons, so 3 daughter-in-laws, and each couple has 2 children. So like 14, 15 members are there, and every member has 2-3 bank accounts, 2-3 demat accounts. They have bought different land parcels in different parts of the country. So who is going to, govern that all the assets in one single Excel sheet, or so that the family knows what we own. Sometimes the family doesn't know what they own. Okay, and it happens a lot of times. Confidentiality. Okay, sometimes the promoters keep traveling in different parts of the world. There are businesses which demand that the promoter keeps on traveling, like the Ambani families or the Tata family. They keep on traveling throughout the world, and they buy assets which are very confidential and which they don't want to declare it to others, but at least, and they don't want to declare it to the family members also. This also happens in India, and it's very common. Sometimes you don't want to disclose all your assets to your son-in-law or your daughter-in-law or your grandchildren. So, but there has to be some proper framework, or some at least one team of people who knows everything about you, so that if you die, once of a sudden, the family can be informed about all the assets. And different aspirations of the next generation. Sometimes you have a very large business, successful business, good business, very profitable, but your next generation is simply not interested. At that time, what do? So if you let the business die, you will not get any valuation. It is better that you sell the business, get the money, and transfer it to the next generation. So at that time also a family office is formed. So these are the basic reasons why a family office is formed. Now, type of families, family offices. The most common one is single family office, where you work only with one promoter and you manage his assets. You manage everything, all his investments, all his legal issues, everything. So that is called a single family office. And it is not professionally run generally, but India is getting to that stage where it will be professionally run very soon. There are like 100, 200 family, or I think the last number that I saw was around 300 family, professionally run family office, where there's a proper CIO, there's an analyst, there is an accountant, there is a legal person, everything is there. So that's called a single family office, where you work with only one promoter. Multi-family office. So for example, I represent TriGen Wealth, which is a multi-family office. We advise many families in India on what they should do with their wealth and where they should invest, how they can invest in a tax-friendly manner where they have to pay lesser tax and they can maximize their wealth. And the third one, which is not present in India as of now, on a very small scale, which is virtual family office, wherein suppose you decide, I don't want to hire a full-time guy, I don't want to hire a multi-family office also. I want someone who can come in once every fortnight, look at my assets and tell me what to do, what not to do. So that's called a virtual family office, wherein you generally meet over a Teams call or a Zoom call once in a fortnight and take decisions. Generally, these families are where you don't do much churning in assets, you don't do buying and selling of stocks, you are happy with what you have, you are happy with whatever is growing. So that is called a virtual family office. Now, considerations before setting up a family office. Who should set up a family office? Like, can you and I set up a family office? So, generally, if you have less than 50 to 100 crores of wealth, you don't need a family office. Okay, because a CIO, a family office CIO would cost anywhere between 50-75 lakhs to 1.5 to 2 crores per annum salary. So that's the salary of a family office CIO. And that is just one person. He will hire 2 analysts, he will hire 1 accountant, he will hire 1 company secretary, he will hire a lawyer. So all that total cost comes to around 2.5 to 3 crores in India. So for that, if your total assets is just 50 or 40 crores, you don't require to spend that much amount on just your employees. Okay. Level of control. So generally many family offices don't allow the CIO to take independent calls. They take their own calls, and the CIO is just only for execution or to give ideas. Okay, so all depends on what kind of promoter you are. Most of the promoters still take active calls, but there are certain promoters who allow the family office head to take calls. That okay, you take the decision, you take the call, but just inform me. So that is your level of control. Complexity of financial instruments. So there are certain products which only a well-groomed CIO will understand. For example, fixed coupon notes, or an MLD structure, or AIF Cat 2 private equity funds, or derivative strategies. These are very complicated assets. So many promoters don't understand these products. They only know their business, but they don't understand these kind of financial instruments. So, but if the family is interested in investing in such assets, then they require a proper CIO to run that family office. Scalability, as I mentioned, only when you think that your assets will keep growing every year, then it makes sense to hire a full-time family office, or have a full-time family office structure. Otherwise, it doesn't help. Regulatory and tax implications. So, for example, many promoters don't understand the tax implication of investing outside India, or what happens when you sell assets outside India, or how to bring money back to India, or how to send money outside India. So for that, you require someone who can guide you, on a day-to-day basis. So if you have such a family where you have such kind of people who are going to travel abroad, come back to India or get married and settle outside India. So then you require a family office setup. And philanthropy. So many promoters are doing philanthropy these days, but philanthropy also needs to be done in a professional manner and in a manner where there is not much leakage of money, or there, the money has to be used professionally and properly. So for that, you require someone to monitor that money, that whether it is used in the proper way or not. So philanthropy is one reason that why family office is set up. Decision-making process. So how does a family office decide where to invest, how much to invest? So the first important step before setting out, whenever you hire a CIO is, you create an investment policy statement. So you go to any family office and, ask कि आपका IPS दिखाओ. Generally, whenever we go, we ask where is the IPS? And many families don't have an IPS. So what is an IPS? So investment policy statement is a statement which will tell where the family will, out of the total assets that the family has, how much will they invest in equity, how much they will invest in debt, how much they will invest in real estate, how much they will invest in commodities. So all the different asset class that you can think of, what proportion you would invest in which asset is something that is written in the IPS. And IPS is created at an individual level also. Because the grandfather might require fixed income, but the third generation might require equities. They might want to invest in startups. And the middle generation, which are in, between 35 to 50 age, they might have a different plan altogether. So IPS is prepared at an individual level and freezed. That, you can't change the IPS every day. Okay, bhai, aaj war ho gaya, so now you shift from equity to debt. The conditions of changing the IPS are also laid down in the IPS. कि भाई ये IPS कब change करना है? So for example, if the tax regime changes, then you change the IPS. Or if there is a very big war which is not ending for last 4-5 months, then you revisit the IPS. So there are conditions in which IPS needs to be revisited. And how frequently? Yes, it is generally not changed. Only under special situations it gets changed. Okay, so now within the broader areas of equity, where do the families invest? So the most common, things are your direct equity, which we all do. Derivatives is not something which we all do, but family offices do that kind of investments. Mutual fund is again something we all do. PMS is something that is, for slightly higher ticket size. So PMSs and AIFs. AIFs is your alternative investment funds. Within AIFs, there is category 1, category 2, and category 3. So category 1 and 2 is generally your unlisted investments, your private equity funds, your venture capital funds. And category 3 is your long only funds or your long short funds, which is into listed equity. So that is the equity bucket. On the debt bucket, you have MLDs and bonds. Bonds we all do, your fixed income bonds. But your MLDs, which are MLDs market linked debenture. Now MLDs is something a slightly complicated product, wherein there are conditions given for your returns to be increased. And they generally are, they give returns between 13 to 15%. Then your debt mutual funds, which is a simple liquid arbitrage fund. Debt AIFs. Now there are debt AIFs which will give you return of 16 to 18%. And these AIFs invest your money for 4 to 5 years. Okay, so and here the minimum ticket size is 1 crore. So only family offices generally invest in them. And your REITs InvITs. So REITs InvITs is also something, the listed part we all know, but there are unlisted REITs and InvITs which are accessible only to family offices because the ticket size over there is very high. Real estate. So there are families who keep on accumulating land parcels and houses in different parts of the country, because in India still the promoters love real estate. And there are real estate funds. For example, you don't know how to invest in real estate. So there are funds which will take money from you and then they will invest in either residential properties or commercial properties, and they will take care of it. Commodities, as we all know, gold ETFs, and international assets. So many family offices are taking interest in international assets. One is because of the rupee depreciation, because rupee depreciation itself gives you 6-7 returns. and that particular asset, if that gives you 6-7 returns, your total return comes to 12 to 14%. So families are parking money outside India, in Singapore or in Dubai, so that they can, you know, they can safely, they can diversify first thing, and they can also park their money outside India. Because when you have to go, if you know, when you send your children abroad for education or something, the money is already there and it's still growing. Role of family office team. Now, what does the family office team do on a day-to-day basis? Okay, so first thing is asset allocation, as I mentioned, like equity mein kitna hoga, debt mein kitna hoga, and when it changes, what to do. So monitoring the asset allocation is the most important part. Cash flow planning. So as a family office head, investment is one part, but second most important thing is you have to pay advance tax every quarter. What to do with the interest that you are getting every month or every quarter. Family expense is the lifestyle expense of the family. So every family has a, you know, the lifestyle of these families are very extravagant. So, you know, it might be paying the EMIs of the car, or might be paying the the fees, the membership fees of the clubs that they go, or if they have chartered planes, you have to pay insurance premium for those chartered planes. So the cash flow planning has to be accurate. Succession planning, as Deepak ji had explained previously, it's the most important part. Technology adoption. So because, you know, when you have assets all over the world and if you are traveling continuously, you need to have such softwares which can help you track your assets, you know, on the go, on your mobile or on your iPad. So there are certain softwares that are there in India which help you, you know, track all your assets. For people like you and me, there is money control. But when you have all the exotic assets like art, MLDs, AIFs, international assets which are in different currencies, for them there are different softwares that can accumulate all that information. Asset register maintenance, as Deepak ji had mentioned, you know, maintaining an asset register where all your information, how many cars you have, what is the number of those, what is the, you know, number plate of that car, how many houses you have, how many artworks, paintings you have, where are they located, how are they stored, everything. So that is asset register. Legal issues. So in every large family, because wherever money is involved, there is greed, there is fear, there might be divorce cases, there might be you know, different type of cases within the family. So that also is a part of family of, that is a job of family office. Whether they do it internally or they take an external help is a second question, but that comes under the role of family office. Tax planning, as I said, advanced tax planning and everything. Trust and philanthropy. So what kind of structure should the, where should all the assets of the family be parked? Should they form a trust or not? Whether they should form a trust, whether they should form a private limited company, whether they should do an LLP format. All that is discussed with the family on a, you know, quarterly basis or a 6-monthly basis, and steps are taken to work on this. Incentives. So like what incentives do we get as a family office head? Okay. Now, there are different structures. So there are certain families which give you incentives on the profits that you make. So for example, if you are managing a 500 crore family and they set a hurdle rate of 10%, and they say you that, okay, anything above 10%, whatever you make, I will give you 5% of that as an incentive. So for example, 500 crore ka 10% is what, 50 crores? And if you, with your ideas, make, you know, help them earn 60 crores. So 60 minus 50 is 10 crores. So on that 10 crore, the 5%, which is the incentive, which is comes to 50 lakhs. So that 50 lakh is given as bonus, okay, to family office team. So there are many family offices who adopt this structure. This is called a carry hurdle structure, where the hurdle is set at 10-12% and carry is also set. So Catamaran, Azim Premji, these are the families that adopt to these structures. And incentive structure, as I told, it's a fixed plus variable and fixed plus hurdle and carry model. What are the kind of deals that family office do in the unlisted space? For example, Zepto, company. The investments were made by Mankind Pharma, Cello Family Office, Haldiram Snacks Family Office, First Cry, which is again a listed company. Again, there are many families that Marico Family Office and DSP Family Office participated. So they also fulfill this gap of having the investment flow in the system. Like Cornerstone, so the family office that I was working for was Sukhvi Family Office. We became a GP, a general partner in one of the funds called Cornerstone Funds. So now we have, whatever profits the fund will make, we will get a part of it. So these are the kind of deals that family offices do. Yeah, that's it. So if any questions that I can answer? Okay. So
Well, yes,
just one last thing. So I represent, as I told, I represent TriGen Wealth, if and we do a lot of fundraise for startups, and we advise a lot of family offices as well. So if you require any kind of advice or any kind of structuring help, then you can reach out to me. Thank you.